Hey there, amigos! Legendary players are the ones who set examples for the upcoming generations. They prove to them that through ultimate struggle, they can achieve whatever role they want on and off the court. Today, we are discussing about one of the ultimate players in NBA history. Yes, the title says it right. It's about John Havlicek. We all know what an amazing player he's been through for the Celtics. Born on April 8, 1940, John Havlicek was a professional NBA player who created milestones in his gaming history. He was a three-sport athlete at Bridgeport High School in Bridgeport, Ohio. Havlicek was drafted by both the Boston Celtics of the National Basketball Association and the Cleveland Browns of the National Football League in 1962. After competing briefly as a wide receiver in the Browns training camp that year, he focused his energies on playing for the Celtics, with head coach Red Auer Bach later describing him as the guts of the team. He was also known for his stamina, with competitors saying that it was a challenge just to keep up with him. Let's discuss 7 things you didn't know about John Havlicek. So, let's begin. But before we proceed further, if you haven't yet subscribed to the channel, do hit the subscribe button so that you won't be missing out on any future NBA content. Number 7. 8 Pete Championships. Led by Bill Russell, Sam Jones, Casey Jones, Tommy Henson, Bob Kelsey, John Havlicek, Tom Sanders, and coach Red Auer Bach, the Boston Celtics famously won 8 straight NBA championships in a row between 1959 and 1966. The idea of winning one championship is daunting enough. Setting your goals to winning 8 championships for your franchise is another, especially considering only 2 NBA teams have ever won that many championships in their franchise history. However, winning 8 consecutive championships in the modern NBA requires not only making nearly every right draft choice, trade move, and tough decision from a player perspective, but a whole lot of luck. This team would have to be a generational-type team, featuring at least a couple of generational-type talents, and a roster that's reloaded a few times over the course of those 8 seasons. They also would have to avoid any significant injuries. Successfully managing a whole team and roster through each season and winning consecutively 8 times in a row is wildly impressive enough on its own, but when you consider the teams that are in 2nd and 3rd place on the list of most consecutive championships sit at just 3 consecutive championships, the magnitude of this achievement becomes more apparent. Number 6. Record stat figure. Havlicek's offensive repertoire grew year after year and helped his scoring average jump all the way to 28.9 points per game in 1970-71. That season, which was the highest scoring campaign of his career, was the 5th of his 8 consecutive seasons of averaging at least 20.7 points per game. While he became known for his scoring, Havlicek was also able to turn up his assist totals later in his career. He averaged at least 4 assists per game in each of his final 11 seasons. He did not average that many in any of his first 5 and maxed out with consecutive seasons of averaging 7.5 APG in 1970-71 and 1971-72. Keep in mind that all of these numbers that consistently pushed a season average of triple-double, were accumulated as a full-time reserve. Havlicek is undoubtedly the greatest reserve the NBA has ever seen. The Celtics legend finished his career with astonishing numbers, including averages of 20.8 points, 6.3 rebounds, and 4.8 assists per game, all the while being known as one of the best defenders in the game. He tallied 26,395 points in his career and made the all-defensive first or second team 8 times. Number 5. The notable moment. Havlicek's most notable moment arrived on April 15, 1965, when he played the key role in one of the most historic moments in NBA history. After Bill Russell turned the ball over in the waning moments of Game 7 of the Eastern Conference Finals, due to a pass that deflected off a wire, no less, Havlicek stepped in to steal Philadelphia's ensuing inbound pass, tossed by Hal Greer. Havlicek tipped the ball ahead to the aforementioned Jones, and the legendary call by Johnny Most still rings loud and clear to NBA fans. Havlicek stole the ball, it's all over, it's all over. The Celtics went on to win the NBA title that season. His list of accolades could be stacked as high as any other players in NBA history. Number 4. dislocated shoulder. In 1973, in the East Finals, Boston's John Havlicek suffered a dislocated shoulder in the third game against the Knicks. So relieved were New York fans by his absence, which they stood and applauded when he walked out of the tunnel, un-Reed-like in street clothes before the fourth game at Madison Square Garden. Playing essentially with his left hand, Havlicek came back when his team was down 3-1 to score 18 and 10 in the next two games, both stunning victories by Boston. But in the final game in Boston, under the 2-2-1-1-1 format, the Knicks played a suffocating defensive game. Havlicek scored only 4 points, and the Celtics lost the seventh game for the first time in franchise history. Number 3. Hall of Fame. He had a relentless, unselfish style of play, highlighted by constant movement and tenacious defense. From 1957 to 1969, the Celtics won 11 NBA championships. Mr. Havlicek's slashing style of play wasn't always pretty, but it was ruthlessly effective. He was always in a position to grab offensive rebounds and to make passes to open teammates. On defense, he was often called on to guard the opposing team's top scorer. As other players retired, Mr. Havlicek's role grew, and he and Russell were the core of the Celtics team that won NBA championships in '68 and '69. Years later, Russell said of his longtime teammate, "He is the best all-around player I have ever seen." In his final game, Mr. Havlicek scored 29 points. His number 17 was soon retired by the Celtics, playing his entire career before the introduction of the three-point shot. He averaged 20.8 points per game, and he remains the Celtics' all-time leading scorer. He was a 13-time All-Star and was inducted into the Naismith Memorial Basketball Hall of Fame in '84. Number 2. Post-playing activities. The Bridgeport High School Gymnasium was renamed the John J. Havlicek Gymnasium in January 2007. He shares the honor with National High School Hall of Fame member Frank Baxter, a longtime coach at Bridgeport High School. The court is named after Baxter. Fellow Hall of Famer Chris Mullin wore number 17 as a tribute to Havlicek. Pony International still produces a model of athletic shoes named after the iconic basketballer, called the John Havlicek, bearing John's signature. Havlicek was shrewd with his money during his playing career, and he invested much of this income in Wendy's fast food chain during its formative years. The success of his investments left Havlicek with a comfortable income after retirement, and he never had to work for a conventional salary again. He had no desire to coach, instead he served as a corporate speaker. Number 1. Struggling death. John Havlicek, a dynamo in two eras of Celtics glory, died at the age of 79. A relentless force for the Boston Celtics over 2 decades and 2 championship eras, and one of the greatest clutch stars in NBA history, left this mortal world in 2019. His death was announced by the Celtics. No cause was given, but it was known that he had been treated for Parkinson's disease, which caused him to lose control of his muscles. He injured himself in a fall and developed pneumonia that prevented his brain from getting enough oxygen. Doctors tried to save his life by putting him into a deep coma, but he died 3 weeks later, most likely from heart failure caused by brain damage because he was not able to breathe in enough oxygen. Known as one of the NBA's top 50 greatest players of all time, John Havlicek has a legacy that few athletic superstars can match. With 8 NBA titles, 4 of which came in his first 4 seasons, Havlicek proved early on that he was a force to be reckoned with on the court. Unlike many basketball players who shine during a brief athletic peak and then quickly fade, Havlicek maintained professional form throughout his career. In fact, he was the first NBA player to score 1,000 points in 16 straight seasons. It's tough to say which of John Havlicek's accomplishments is the most impressive, but it's safe to assume that his legacy will endure the test of time. Records may come and go, and memories of past games may start to fade, but the effort and dedication that Havlicek showed on the court has been an inspiration to many. Hope you guys have enjoyed the video. Thumbs up if you've liked it, and do hit that subscribe button so that you won't be missing out on any interesting videos from now on.